Jeff, take my sunglasses. We don't cry in front of Mexicans. Well, welcome into the Bro 4 Squad podcast, reviewing what I said would be the greatest movie ever fucking made. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm Matt, he's Jeff, grading this on our 5 criteria: acting, story, best scene, impacts on pop culture, and rewatchability. So Jeff, I mean, have we ever had a fucking movie that when I throw it to you for the acting that we're going to probably praise this as high as we have? In our
I
3
was gonna,
years of the
s-
pod.
I was gonna say, are there even any good actors in this? I haven't even fucking heard of these people. Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt. I don't know, man. It's kind of shitty acting all around. No, I'm completely kidding. I mean, this is a tough one to talk about just because everybody was so fucking good. Like, I'll leave the main heavy hitters for you, I guess. Timothy Olyphant, I'm a huge fucking fan of. And the one problem, it's not a problem, but in a movie like this, everyone gives such good performances. I was telling you before we started, I could watch a movie just on their characters, but we don't get them that much. So Olyphant as James Stacy, I really loved. Al Pacino as Marvin Schwartz, who
Yeah.
insists his name is
Schwartz,
not
not
Schwartz.
Schwartz.
It's not Schwartz, god damn it. He was fucking great in this. I, of course, love Kurt Russell as Randy. His like acting nice to Brad Pitt's Cliff Booth, but obviously fucking hates him and doesn't want him anywhere near his movie sets was incredible. And then I'm trying to look up who the fuck played the director on the western that Rick Dalton did with Timothy
It
Olyphant, but I
looked
can't
like
find.
James Wood, but I don't think it was James Wood. But it
There's
looked
a
like,
lot of like Scoot McNairy has a cameo in this movie.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of great fucking actors. I mean, obviously it's incredibly top heavy, but the thing that Tarantino always gets is a very memorable scene out of Damian Lewis from fucking Homeland is at the Playboy Mansion party. He's the one who gives the exposition about
yeah.
Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate. I don't know, man. Tarantino just gets like incredible talent to come out for ancillary parts on top of the heavy hitters he gets up top, and it just helps round things out. Fucking incredible cast and acting.
So the only, I would say, if I have to nitpick the cast, the only problem I had was the 3 people from the Manson family. By the way, we'll do spoilers on this. So the 3 people from the Manson family that show up on the 3rd act, those those lines are very Tarantino-esque, but we didn't have Travolta or Samuel L. Jackson giving them. So I thought some of them, like the one girl that was just talking about how, man, Hollywood's corrupt, man, we got to take down the corruption. I think that would have been, they were young actors. I didn't know who they were. That's the only part I was like, man, I thought this would be like a lot better because these are the
So
psycho.
this is interesting. The one who ran away, and again, this is spoilers, right? So the one who ran away at the end back to the car is Maya Hawke, who is in Stranger Things and is the daughter of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
I didn't even know they had a kid.
Yeah, so they were married for a little while. So obviously, like Uma Thurman has worked with Tarantino in the past on Pulp Fiction and The Kill Bill. So maybe a little home cook in there, but she's an up and comer for her work on Stranger Things as well.
That's the only, I think, low spot I had. I'll say a couple other things because I love this film so much that it's in a category where you really got to put it up against the best films ever made. Leonardo DiCaprio was fucking fantastic. I think, I don't know what I could say that he was better in than this because he had to do so fucking much. He was basically, we'll get into basically more of his character in a story.
And he was having the time of his life.
Yeah, he was having so much fucking fun doing this. Brad Pitt is, I I hate to compare it to Fight Club because he's more kind of serious as Fight Club. If you've seen True Romance, he's that character, just broer than fuck, but he
He's
has
the
way more
coolest fucking
screen
dude in this
time,
room.
and he's fucking perfect. The dynamic between those two was fantastic. It's something I need to see again though, because I don't feel like I'm comfortable giving a complete review because I want to say that I didn't think their chemistry was as good as Travolta's and Samuel L. Jackson's, but I've seen that movie so many fucking times I could tell you every one of their lines. I got to see, not that Pitt and DiCaprio's were bad. It was just, I'm putting them up to some of the best chemistry ever fucking put on film.
Right.
And they were very good. Margot Robbie, I'll have to say, if you're coming for her, she's not in it very much. For a while, she was in about 3 seasons, didn't say a word. But if you know about the Sharon Tate story, then
right.
I liked her in it.
Sharon Tate's character is almost, it's really weird the way she was portrayed. I liked it, but it was like she was in like a different world almost, like an alternate reality. It felt like. Real quick, and you might have something else. I want to give a quick shout out to Julia Butters, the child actress who played Trudy.
Yeah, she was awesome.
And then Emil Hirsch is in it as Jay Sebring, heir to the Sebring dynasty. And can I just say the name Bounty Law is the coolest fucking name for a Western show of all time.
Awesome. I had a Bounty Law lunchbox.
It was my favorite of all my lunch boxes. Like, how many fucking lunch boxes did you have? What are you talking about?
That's another thing, too, is I remember back in the day seeing Will Ferrell movies and thinking, yeah, that was funny, but I couldn't tell you one line because there are just so many great one-liners. This is a movie, I think, that after you watch it 4 or 5 times, it's going to go from like a 93% to like a 99% for you. Me and Jeff were talking off pod, and there's just so many fucking one-liners from this. Okay, let's go right into story. Honestly, if you've seen the trailers as much as we have, they go right along with it. There's no really surprises, I would say. I would say
the ending,
the final third act would be a surprise, just the way they kind of end it. But basically, Rick Dalton, played by DiCaprio, is a kind of a John Wayne type character. Plays a lot of westerns in the 50s. The 60s are coming with the hippies and the fucking rock and roll and all that stuff. The times, as Bob Dylan said, are a changing, and he's just not really with it. Yeah, and he fucking hates it. He hates that, why aren't westerns cool anymore? Why am I just extras on TV shows? Why don't I have my own TV show anymore? And Brad Pitt is just the coolest fucking dude ever, living in a trailer and just drives DiCaprio around because DiCaprio had too many fucking DUIs or whatever.
His car's in the shop, okay?
And Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate basically just moves to Hollywood. She's in a couple movies. She's in a new one with Dean Martin, which is a real movie from the Rat Pack. And that's pretty much it, man. And then it's just kind of a 1960s movie. There's not a basic plot. It's just about life, which I think is fucking brilliant and refreshing. And it was an extremely creative, fresh movie.
Yeah, to plug another podcast, Happy, Sad, Confused with Josh Horowitz, Tarantino was on, and he basically said he had this concept from Kill Bill when he was dealing with he didn't name anyone, but a really diva stuntman for one of the male actors. And he said that he always thought that the relationship between A-list actor and stuntman was incredible to him, because the stuntman would say to Tarantino, yeah, as long as that actor's happy, I'm happy. And Tarantino realizes, oh, so you're like not even working for me. You basically just work for this guy. So there's a great concept here and a really cool one. Not much in the way of story, but the characters and the premise of what's happening is so fucking interesting that really the story, quote unquote, only happens in like the last 25 minutes. And it is plenty to get me by. And somehow, even with a 2-hour, 41-minute runtime, I could have done like 10, 15 minutes more. It's kind of incredible.
The thing about Tarantino films, because if you don't like them, then there's nothing wrong with you, but you're more of a person that wants Prince Charming to come along and, Cinderella to have a whatever. Tarantino films are not about the story. It's about the character development and basically the interaction. And this movie didn't really have a plot until like the last 30 minutes. I was completely fine with it because I just wanted to see these actors do their fucking thing and conversate with each other, and I was having a ball doing it.
He basically just sets up this last scene for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I'm totally cool with that.
Best scene, which I think this whole fucking movie was a best scene. Before we get to our best scenes, can we just put that this, I believe, is the first thing I've ever seen, besides maybe if you count Entourage, about how the ins and outs of Hollywood really work. How Leo would come on the set, and he's like, man, I'm supposed to be at the bad guy saloon. Where the hell is that? He's just hungover as fuck. Go down that way. Whenever he doesn't know the lines, they're feeding it to him, and they're like, take it from the top, or like, no, that's one shot, that's fine. This isn't my best scene, but one of my favorite scenes was when he's in his pool drinking, and he's playing his tape recorder, and he basically tapes the other lines. So he's like reading himself the lines of the other people, then he gives the lines that he memorized. And that's how I'm guessing Leonardo DiCaprio memorizes lines, which is, it's like watching Tiger Woods practice, or how he like learned how to do a putt or something. It was fucking awesome, I thought.
Yeah, just the whole like peek behind the curtain. This is how diva actor. I mean, they used to act like that. They probably still do the same fucking thing. My favorite scene, I'm probably stealing this from you because this is, aside from the Avengers Assemble scene in Avengers Endgame, my favorite movie scene of the year. And that is Rick Dalton in his trailer freaking out at himself after he fucks up a take on the pilot he's
So
filming with
great.
Timothy Oliphant. He quits drinking, he drinks again in the scene. He throws things, he breaks things, and he starts criticizing himself like, how the fuck do you think you could act after 8 whiskey sours? And then he takes
And
a
he
hit
said
from
he's
his
gonna blow his brains out if he doesn't fucking get it right on the next one.
right. I don't know. That scene was in the trailer and it somehow surpassed the hype I had for it coming in. I was like almost couldn't hear it because I was laughing so hard in theaters. What was yours?
I I still think, Jeff, this is the first review I had where I've gone over my head with 5 fucking best scenes. That's how good this movie is. I had one, but then my wife told me about, and I kind of forgot about this. Brad Pitt and his dog dynamic. The first scene
Oh
with
yeah.
him when he goes into his trailer and he has that big pit bull and he's feeding his dog and making himself mac and cheese and drinking a beer and shit. Brad Pitt can act with like a fucking rock, I think, and it would be fucking awesome to watch. But wherever they got that dog, who was like, we should have talked about that in acting because that was a really well acted dog.
Yeah.
But that's probably my. I would have to say, other than the third act, which we're going to touch on right now, once again, spoilers, I'd have to say just any scene with Brad Pitt and his fucking dog was a great scene.
That
If you
dog
haven't seen this
acted
movie, you're like, that sounds stupid. Just go watch it.
that dog acted better than Jennifer Lawrence in the last two X-Men movies. And can I just give an honorable mention to the scene where Cliff and Rick are watching FBI and just
Yeah.
drinking beers at his apartment? That was so fucking great too.
So the third act. The third act is probably, first off, this is the best movie I've seen in theaters for about probably 3 or 4 years. I can't even think of the last one I saw. Probably since the original Deadpool. When I left the theater, I'm like, that is one of the freshest, creative fucking movies I've seen. Or Get Out. I'll say that. Get Out was probably the last time I left the theater.
Is this your
Happy.
impact? Real quick, sorry, I didn't hear that part.
No, we're talking about the third
Oh, okay.
scene. But this third scene was probably the best third scene I've maybe ever seen in theaters because I didn't watch Pulp Fiction in theaters. I didn't watch. I think I watched Inglourious Basterds in theater. This is the greatest third act I think I've ever seen because it's fucking hilarious and there's violence in it.
It's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't go exactly where you think, which is really cool. It's tough because there's some movies with like great twists that I think have incredible third acts as well. But I'll say this: the movie it didn't even feel like it was building towards. I mean, you know where it's building just because you know Sharon Tate's inclusion and the inevitability of what you think happens to her. But I just think it was a great payoff to all the characters, like Cliff Booth being on the gurney tripping acid, like recounting the events to the physicians or the ambulance guys that are there. It's just like the perfect coup de grace to his character. Like he's the coolest fucking guy in the room, and even on acid, he somehow like keeps his wits about him. It's just insane.
So since we're doing spoilers, basically, the Manson Family 3 comes up there, and I knew they weren't going to go to Sharon Tate's house. I thought they were going to go to DiCaprio's house because somehow they're tracking Brad Pitt because he went to the compound earlier, which we didn't touch on. But that's where I thought they were going. However, I thought it would end with them killing Leo and Pitt and Sharon Tate coming in with a gun because she heard gun and then killing all the Manson family to basically give her family redemption. However, it didn't fucking do that. Brad Pitt was tripping fucking balls, beats the fuck out of them, and then Leo takes the blowtorch that he had from the Nazi movie and burns this chick alive in the fucking pool, which is like one of the funniest, most disturbing things I've ever seen. It was everything you think of a Tarantino movie in the third act. If I would just give you a sentence on Tarantino, I just play you that 10 minutes. I'm like, that's a Tarantino movie. It was fucking perfectly done.
When Cliff Booth asked the guy with a gun to his head, "Are you real?" That was one of my favorite parts of the movie too.
Whatever he was saying is like, "Who are you? I'm the devil." No, that ain't it. It was something stupid.
No, it was something like Rex or something.
Yeah, Rex or something like that. His name.
Like, I remember you.
Okay, let's move on to impacts on pop culture because I'm interested to see what you in the world we live in, which is full of fucking reboots and everything has to connect and everything. This is just a one-off fucking good movie. And do you think it's going to live on forever, or is it going to be like something that we think is a great movie and then we just forget about in 5 years?
I think the characters are like Tarantino at his best. Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards, and even Calvin Candy, who Leo played in Django, are the only two that I think could hold a candle to Cliff Booth and even Rick Dalton in this. I'm not the biggest Pulp Fiction fan. I like it a lot. It's probably my fourth favorite Tarantino movie. This one jumped to the top. And Avengers Endgame doesn't get included just because of all the awesomeness of it. So this is my favorite movie of the year. I think it just passed Triple Frontier as my number one in 2018, which you have been all over that since our movie preview show in January.
This is the best movie I've seen this year, last year, fucking period. It's fucking brilliant. It's very good, and I will say that when I was watching the previews before, and I saw a Cats movie starring Taylor Swift and a Harriet Tubman movie, I swear to God, if this doesn't get fucking Oscar nom, I'm gonna pull a Leo and blow my fucking brains out. Because this movie should be all over the fucking Oscars. We haven't even talked about the music they used in this, and so Tarantino-esque, using the fucking commercials from 1969 about sunscreen and fucking all that shit. Like, have you seen Reservoir Dogs when it was super hits of the 70s? Pulp Fiction did that. All of his fucking movies do that. It was a perfect fucking movie.
The soundtrack was incredible, and he actually played a lot of it in the trailer, but it all was just so fucking good and helps paint that 1969 Hollywood vibe.
When Sharon Tate was driving to the party and Deep Purple Hush was playing, the only time I thought, I was like, ooh, this wasn't a good song to pick, because that's what Hemsworth was dancing to in fucking Bad Times at the El Royale. I'm like,
that's true. I forgot about that.
You should have picked a Zeppelin song or something, because Hemsworth ruined this song, because it'll always be his. But impacts on pulp culture, man. This is gonna be goes down one of the greatest Hollywood masterpieces ever. It's got two of the best actors fucking ever. It's got an up and coming fantastic actress. Margot Robbie's going to be around for a really long time. A fantastic supporting cast. Probably the best writer director ever to grace our fucking planet. And it's set in 1969 Hollywood, which is probably arguably the biggest year of our nation ever. Besides probably when we founded this country or during the Civil War. The moon landing happened. Woodstock happened. Nixon took in president. The hippies were taken over. Music changed. Culture changed. Hollywood changed. Everything. And I think you captured it perfectly. Once again, going into rewatchability, we don't say this that much. I don't think I've ever said this on pod. Will I rewatch this? Yes. I want to go see it again in theaters, which we usually don't do because we got to see so many fucking movies in theaters because we're on a podcast. I want to go see this again tonight. I want to see it probably 4 or 5 more times in theaters like I did The Dark Knight. It's fucking awesome. And I think it's just going to get better as I see it.
Yeah, that's saying something for a 2-hour, 40-minute movie that's not a blockbuster. I definitely will see it again at some point. This might be one where I buy the Blu-ray too, just because any special features or any extra footage he can give me with these characters, I'm all over. And even if I don't rewatch the whole thing, we talked about it in Best Scene, trying to pick our favorite part of it. There's already 5 or 6 scenes that I just got out of it literally 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago before we started this podcast. And I want to go see those scenes again. And like I said, I just came from the theater. So that speaks volumes to how fun these fucking characters were, how cool the setting was. And we talk about this all the time on the pod, especially Cycly. We're just so starved for unique ideas now. And Tarantino is one of the few guys who can get huge actors in movies that are not like other IPs. It's just from his own fucking head and a cool idea that he has, which is so refreshing.
So not only are we telling you to go see this, I will go a step farther. If your parents are not fucking weird and pretty cool, go take them because they were alive during 1969 and they'll probably be like, FBI was a real show, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was.
And I know a bunch of those commercials and stuff were real products back in the day. They will probably fucking love this movie because they were probably the age of that hippie chick with the armpit hair that Brad Pitt was like, I want you to suck my dick, but I don't want to go to prison, so no.
Also, stay for the after credits scene. It's like mid credits because Did you stay and see the Rick Dalton Red Apple commercial for the cigarettes?
I didn't stay for the after. I didn't even know. Why would there be an after credit scene? Tarantino's never done that before. I
No,
didn't even know that.
it's during the credits. Rick Dalton does a commercial for Red Apple cigarettes and talks about how his character on Bounty Law smells awesome. And then the second they say cut, he like spits the cigarette out. He goes, "Get this fucking shit out of my mouth." And then there's a cardboard cut out of him, and he goes, "And who the fuck approved this? I have a goddamn double chin." And he smashes it in half.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to get the DVD with the extras on that. Well, I'm gonna go see it again sometime soon, and I'll stay for the. I didn't even know why would they do that. He's never done that.
It's just a mid-credit. Wow. It's like
That's awesome.
It's more Rick Dalton. Yeah, and it's my whole theater was cracking up. It was fucking hilarious
because he puts Halloween, on everyone's gonna dress as Cliff Booth with that Champion T-shirt and the Brian Banner overshirt, and people are gonna dress like Rick. That's gonna be a big. Well, we should go as Halloween for that.
Banner. We should go as Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton. But Banner will go as Cliff Booth when he's fixing Rick Dalton's satellite because his shirt's off on his roof.
And he has a beer in his fucking tool bag.
Knowing Banner, he'll rent a pit bull just for the costume party.
We've been the Broforce Squad. That's our movie review. It's probably the greatest movie I've went to since I've been part of this podcast. Besides maybe Get Out. Get Out could maybe go
Get Out or Logan. Yeah.
Or Logan. So there you go. Go fucking see it. Comment below what you guys think. Check us out on our website, broforsquad.com. YouTube or iTunes, probably where you listen to us right now. Do us a favor, subscribe to us so you don't miss any of our content. We're also on Twitter at broforsquad, and we're on Jeff. What's that thing you like to do?
Letterboxd.com. Read our review of this movie. I'm about to go write it. You'll love it.
Here you go.
Line.
This is it. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm fucking done.
8 whiskey sours, and you think you're gonna fucking remember your lines. Remember.